Welcome to The Record Show, your virtual spin around the vinyl industry. Brought to you by Radio Wasteland Records. Yes, Midland has a record store. Here's your host, Jim Gleason.
Greetings from the Wasteland and welcome to another edition of The Record Show. And we have got a busy one for you this time around. We'll get the scoop on all of this week's new releases headed to an indie record store near you, and we'll take our first look at the list from Record Store Day 2021. You know, those two drops coming up in June and July. And we'll take a closer look at a very special tribute album. But first, it was just over a year ago when we first got news of the passing of a music legend. Neil Peart, drummer and lyricist for the band Rush, succumbed to an aggressive form of brain cancer that only his closest friends knew about. He left behind a great legacy of music and writings that have influenced and touched millions of fans worldwide. One of those fans also happens to be a Rush Con organizer, musician, and now record producer. And he's assembled a fantastic tribute album for Neil Peart. We'd like to welcome someone from across the pond here on The Record Show. This gentleman was instrumental in the creation of a masterpiece of a tribute album to the one and only Neil Peart. Steve Brown from RushFest Scotland. Steve, thanks so much for joining us on The Record Show today.
Hi, Jim. How you doing, man? Thanks for having me on.
Great. Now, the album that you created, I think it's pretty much safe to say why. I mean, you're honoring the memory of just a tremendous individual, a creative artist, a fantastic writer, a tremendously technical drummer. But what drove you to want to put together this type of a compilation?
Oh, let me see. Well, the story goes back, I suppose, to the dinosaurs. No, let's see how far back I go. Well, I've been a Rush fan all of my adult life, going back to when I first saw them in Edinburgh on the Signals tour in the early 80s, on the 24th of May, 1980. Oh, I'm going to get the year wrong. You'll all know the year. And I've been a Rush fan all my adult life. I play guitar, as you might be able to tell. And so Alex Lifeson's been a major influence on my life. I play guitar for a living, and one of the bands I'm in for my sanity is actually a Rush tribute band. After doing that for a few years, I then started RushFest Scotland, which is an annual fan convention we have here in Scotland to honour the triumvirate. And there are enough of us in Scotland. Although saying that, we do get folks travelling from across the pond and from Europe and south of the border, from England and across from Ireland. We've had a couple of folk come across from Brazil. Lockdown obviously put the scuppers on RushFest Scotland's event in 2020. Although that year I still did a virtual RushFest Scotland. But shortly after the online event, I just had a kind of brainwave because I've been dealing with other Rush tribute bands from around the world that come across and play for us at our event. I just thought, let's just put an album together with these bands. So I put a couple of requests out on social media, and you'll be amazed the number of Rush tribute bands there are out there.
Oh, yeah.
And they're all pretty good. Because to even have the confidence to try and play this sort of stuff puts you at a certain kind of level of musicianship, and hence the creation of tributes, songs for Neil Volume 1. So that's how it all came around.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the song lineup that was chosen for this. It is really across the board with the, I would say, mid to late Rush work, the earliest being the Trees on there from Hemispheres. But they're all kind of a very, very emotional songs that go into this. And it really adds to the overall, I guess the best word I can use is sensitivity of the music on this record.
Yeah. Yes, I think the first one to hit you there would be The Garden. That's track 4 on the album, and the amazing version there by the Brazilian band Fleesh. Yeah, so and yeah, obviously After Image There's a bit of a story behind us doing our own arrangement of that. There's actually another Rush tribute band in Scotland. They're called Archangels. They were actually a 5-piece. But tragically, their keyboard player died suddenly in November of 2019. And my tribute band, Moving Pictures, we were already working on an arrangement of After Image in memory of John Eady, the chap that passed away. And we were working on that in the December, and then Neil, of course, passed away in the January. So it became even more poignant. It was like, this is just, so that's, and then The Pass and Nobody's Hero, other sort of emotional songs went on the album as well. It's all played from the heart, everyone's, and as you can hear, the quality of the musicianship is I'm not putting my producer head back on here. And that's the thing as well. You'll see on the album, on the vinyl, there's 8 tracks, but there's actually 14 in total. I've got the CD version here. So the complete album has 14 tracks on it. Because it's for charity and because it costs a fair wee bit to manufacture vinyl, we kept it to a single LP with the first 8 tracks, which are all studio tracks, but then the other 6 tracks, the whole 14 tracks, are on the CD version. But everyone that buys the vinyl will get the full digital download of the 14 tracks. So so the actual quality of the 14 bands are quite impressive.
Now, you mentioned charity, and that's the other side of this. Not only is this just an absolute great and fitting tribute for Neil, songs for Neil, but the money that you generate from this is going to research. Tell us a little bit about where this is going and why that's so important for this record.
We're splitting the profits. 50% is going to a charity here in Scotland called Cancer Support Scotland, and the other 50% of the profits from this album are going to the Glioblastoma Foundation Neil Peart Research Award, and that foundation is based out in California. So I just last week, sent the money off to those guys. So,
and for those that might not know, that is what ultimately Neil died from, correct?
Of course, he passed. He was diagnosed with the glioblastoma brain tumor. I think about 3 years before he passed away. But none of us knew, apart from the closest friends and family. His passing was a complete shock to the whole community. Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the artwork on the album itself. I think one of the things that makes this just a tremendous all-around package is the vinyl. We love albums and vinyl because of the covers and the music contained in them. But this one becomes extra special because of the artwork, both on the cover and on the inner sleeve. It just is a great all-around package.
Yeah, this started with, we have our kind of artist in residence, a guy called Paul Tippett, who has designed all our RushFest Scotland merch and logos and T-shirts. We've had a new design T-shirt every year. And the last couple of years, I've been in touch with a really great artist in Scotland called Charlie Roy. So we combined Paul Tippett's design work with Charlie's artwork. And this is all Charlie's work. So both these portraits were painted by Charlie. But it was Paul's idea to turn this one to make it into sort of graffiti kind of image. And Paul added the Dalmatian, which was just such a beautiful image. So we'd gotten that far. It did look like that, okay? Because Paul, we hadn't been in touch with Hugh. Well, I had been in touch with Hugh the year before. It was all organised for him to come across and be our VIP in 2020. But he didn't know anything about this whole project. But when I contacted Hugh and Terry asking for liner notes, I just included the image, that we were working on for the front cover. And Hugh being Hugh, he came back, he loved it, and he made some suggestions. So I put him in touch with Paul. So Paul was like over the moon, corresponding with one of his idols. And it was actually Hugh that said, "You've got to put in the hydrant." And now Paul did think of that, but he didn't want to step on any toes because we didn't ask for permission to use any of these sort of elements. But we got the okay from Hugh, and Hugh said, "Look, put in a splash of colour, get the hydrant in there." And Hugh also told us that red was Neil's favourite colour, so we had to bring it out in red vinyl. So it all kind of tied in thanks to Mr. Syme. So it's definitely a three-way effort here with Charlie Roy doing the painting, Paul Tippett bringing it all together, and Hugh Syme putting the hydrant of approval, allowing us to use that. Yeah,
it is just a great looking package, and it does sound very, very nice as well. You guys did a good job with that. We've talked a great deal about this record and the CD, but how can folks get a hold of that? It was a very limited pressing, correct?
Yeah, 500 pressing, and we've got about 90 left, I think. So, but what we're going to do, thanks to you, Jim, I'm going to send a box out to you because that's one thing that really knocked us for six as well. The actual cost of shipping, for us to ship out to the States or anywhere in North America, the British Postal Service have really gone to town, and just I was sickened by the amount it costs, So anyway, but thanks to you, Jim, the plan is now I'll send you a box, and then it'll make it cheaper for people in America to buy the album. So I'll be sending you a box soon. So
cool. And they would go through your website to order and take care of stuff, correct?
Yeah. So still all the orders come to me via rushfestscotland.co.uk. Everything's on there, and then. But you'll ship it for me, which is great.
We will do that. More than happy to help this cause as well.
Because the way it was working out, it was costing just as much to ship the album as it was the album itself. And I felt so bad for folks ordering from America for that. It's like, this is so bad.
Well, I got my copy, so we're happy to help out the Rush fans here on the stateside to get theirs as well. And
thanks for copies, but 150 of the first. So far, about 150 copies went stateside. So
wow,
thank you for this already. Yeah.
Well, Steve, you have put together such a great and a fitting tribute to Neil Peart with this record, with this music, and we are very much looking forward to hearing more from you on this when Volume 2 gets around. And I would encourage folks to visit your website. If they have any questions, they can contact you as well, I'd think.
Absolutely, yep. If there's anybody out there that's in a Rush tribute band, get in touch. There may be a Volume 3.
that would be very, very cool. But in the meantime, sir, we hope that you stay safe and healthy over there, and we will do all we can to help get the word out on both Volume 1 and Volume 2 and get these into the hands of Rush fans who would really, really love, I think, to have this record in their collections.
Yeah, and don't let tribute bands put you off. I meant to say that earlier. A lot of people do have a bee in the bonnet about tribute bands, but just listen with an open mind, folks, and come to the website. You'll see a couple of snippets of what's going on, and just have an open mind. Don't just write us off because we're tribute bands.
Well, and I'd mentioned this on our weekly update that we do here from the store too. Yeah. This is, I think, just an overall beautiful record. Just between the physical nature of the cover, the vinyl itself, and the music. It's not Rush per se, but I could not think of a better way to pay tribute to this man than what you have put together.
Perfect, Jim. Thanks again, mate. Really appreciate it.
Big thanks again to Steve Brown from RushFest Scotland for joining us. We'll have another upload shortly with his full interview, so be sure that you're subscribed to our channel and you have notifications enabled so you'll know when we put that up on the tubes. And also, just so you know, that full interview will have an exclusive announcement about the Volume 2 vinyl version of Tributes songs for Neil. And be sure to stay tuned to this episode of The Record Show. We'll have a few cuts from Volume 1 in our Closer Look segment coming up in just a few minutes. But now it's time for our weekly look at new releases hitting indie record stores near you. Normally, we're joined by Ken Norton from Ingram Entertainment for this, but he is otherwise occupied today with this little thing called Record Store Day 2021. The list may be coming very, very soon, so stay tuned. I'm sure we'll have plenty to talk about with Ken on next week's episode. As for this week, though, here's a glimpse of what you can look forward to. We've got a new one from Ariana Grande coming out, Positions. This is on clear vinyl for the indie stores. A Back to the Future soundtrack. Now, they put this out, a little while ago. Mondo put something out on tricolored vinyl, but this is a regular black version, but it is still all the great music from the Back to the Future movie, the first one. There is a Sid Vicious Love Kills on picture disc coming out on this Friday's drop, as well as another Grand Funk audiophile, Mark, Don, and Mel. It's on 180 gram audiophile vinyl. Now, this comes after last week's audiophile release of Grand Funk Live. So also, too, just a quick announcement while we're on the Grand Funk side of things. There was a Mark Farner DVD scheduled for release coming out this Friday. It's From Chile with Love, but that release has been postponed until May 21st. And so because of that, so is our talk with Mark Farner as well. We're going to time that interview for a later episode of this show when that DVD release gets closer. So stay tuned for some more information on that. Now, light this week, but next week, April 16th, as we had talked about before with Ken, is going to be a bigger week. So make sure if you are looking for any of these releases coming out on the 16th, that you talk to your friendly neighborhood indie record store and get them pre-ordered if you'd like something held on to for then. But the biggie coming out on the 16th is going to be that Greta Van Fleet Battle at Garden's Gate. It's a double LP. There is a white vinyl indie exclusive version and a regular black vinyl version coming out. Not sure what the numbers are going to be for the white vinyl version, but hopefully they'll press enough for the demand. Also on the 16th, looking ahead, there is a couple from Eric Church that look to be companion albums, one called Heart and the other called Soul, so we can look forward to that. And for you Tom Petty fans, a couple of things that could be very, very interesting. The Wildflowers reissue from a little while back was a big hit and has proven very difficult to get a hold of as far as more copies, but they are releasing a Finding Wildflowers from Tom Petty on gold vinyl coming this Friday, and that is described as alternate versions of the songs from the Wildflowers LP. So don't know too many more details on that, but it could be outtakes or just different versions thereof of that great album. And also on the Tom Petty front, Lucinda Williams is going to put out an album called Running Down a Dream, and we were talking about tribute albums earlier. This one is a tribute to Tom Petty. Looks like it's going to be a double LP and scheduled for a release in advance of what would have been Tom Petty's 70th birthday. So lots of great stuff to look forward to both this Friday and the 16th. Again, make sure that you're talking to your local indie store if there's something that's piquing your interest, that you get your name on a list and get these pre-ordered as well. So right in the middle of getting today's show ready to go, Record Store Day drops the list for Record Store Day 2021. 2 drops on June 12th and July 17th, coming only to pledged independent record stores near you. So I thought we would take a quick perusal through the list. The full one can be found if you head to recordstoreday.com, and you can search through everything there. But let's just take a quick scan through my list, and we will see if anything pops out highlight-wise. I see something on there, a picture disc from AC/DC, Through the Mists of Time. Something from Air is on there. The Allman Brothers, Final Note. John Anderson is there, as well as Animal Collective. And Anthrax, oh, never mind, the Crosley 3-inch RSD turntable. So that's one of those little mini turntable things that's got going on. And it looks like they're putting out an Anthrax release on that. Fred Armiston, the Goodwill ambassador for Record Store Day this year, has a release coming out as well called Parade Meeting. Hunter Gatherer picture disc from Avatar is there, as well as something from the Beastie Boys. Beck, Hyperspace, a reissue of that. Looks like a special version of that in cooperation with NASA, with some etchings as well. That could be kind of neat. Black Sabbath, 2 picture discs on the list from them. One from Heaven and Hell and Mob Rules. Let's see what else we can find on here that pops out. Bush, the Buzzcocks, Canned Heat, a couple from them this time around as well. Charles Lloyd, The Clash, If Music Could Talk, a double LP, 180 gram. Let's see, Crosby, Stills, and Nash, alternative takes of Deja Vu. Faith by The Cure, a picture disc of that, as well as Wild Mood Swings, another double Cure picture disc. They did that a couple of years back as well. Something from Miles Davis on there, as well as Def Leppard live in Oxford. Deftones release, something from Devo. Dio, God Hates Heavy Metal picture disc. There's been some Dio picture discs the past few drops as well. Looks like we've got something from Dire Straits, as well as the Morrison Hotel sessions from the Doors on there. Bob Dylan, a Joker Man, and remixes. Let's see what else we have here. Emerson, Lake and Palmer doing a picture disc of Tarkus, which could be kind of cool. Fear, the ever fun punk band Fear, reissuing the record. That might have to go in the personal collection if I find that one there. Translucent vinyl from The Fix, Reach the Beach. Something from Fleet Foxes. It looks like it's going to be a single, probably a 7-inch single on that. Garbage, as well as the Jerry Garcia Band. Genesis, live at Nebworth in 90 is on there. Something from Gorillaz as well. They've been releasing a few as well. Groundhogs. Let's see, a Hall & Oates Voices reissue is coming on this year's list, as well as the Greasy Truckers Party from Hawkwind. So that looks like it could be a fun one as well. Hot Tuna, a couple from them. And let's see, Jefferson Airplane, Acid, Incense, and Balloons. A single, looks like, from Jim Croce will be there, as Janis Joplin, a picture disc version of Pearl, a Best of Judas Priest, as well as, let's see, King's X, L7, Chromatica, Lady Gaga reissue. We'll have to see what's special about that. The Lemonheads, that's fun to see some alternative in the list as well. Something from Mastodon, looks like another picture disc from them. Oh, and I'm going through this just as you guys are as well. A whole lot of Monkees. Okay, this is going to take a closer look. Looks like there's 3 volumes of Monkees coming out called Missing Links. Several different versions, so we'll have to get some more in-depth on that. 40th anniversary cassette box set from Motley Crue. So get you cassette heads going on there as well. Mr. Big is on there as well. A Notorious B.I.G. doing duets, The Final Chapter. Some Sinead O'Connor live in 1990. Opeth, something from those guys as well. A couple of Charlie Parkers on there. Some Pearl Jam, Alive, 150 gram vinyl with the B-side etching, so we'll have to see what is on there. Tom Petty, Angel Dream, songs from music from a motion picture. Let's see, Robert Plant live at Nebworth in 90 as well. Prince, The Truth, a couple from John Prine, looks like live on there as well. Something from Suzi Quatro, another live from Queen and Adam Lambert. Some Rage Against the Machine, Battle of Mexico City, looks like that might be on colored vinyl. Triple live Ramones coming in. Let's see, one from Lou Reed, See the Twilight Reeling. Keith Richards is on this year's list, as well as the Rolling Stones. Looks like it's the 50th anniversary of Hot Rocks coming out this year. So there will be an RSD release celebrating that. Let's see what else jumps out here as well. St. Vincent returns. Steely Dan, a couple from them on the list, as well as Cat Stevens. Let's see, Styx is on here. This is a big list on these two drops, folks. Looks like we're going to have some fun. Tangerine Dream, Tesla, Mechanical Resonance, looks like a reissue of that. Something from the Tom Tom Club. Triumph is on here this year. UFO, looks like a 7-inch from UFO. A couple from Ultravox, a whole bunch of various artists' albums. We'll go through those when we get a little better time to do so as well. Vitamin String Quartet performs My Chemical Romance. Some reggae from the Wailing Souls is on this year's list. War, looks like a vinyl box set collection from them. Could be a bit pricey as well. The Who, Face Dances, Amy Winehouse doing some remixes, and some Link Ray and another Warren Zevon. And this is cool, wrapping us up with the Zombies. oddities, and extras. So that is just a quick perusal, not too quick, apparently, but through the RSD21 list. Remember, those 2 drops are heading on June 12th and July 17th. Contact your local indie record store to find out if they are participating. I know here at our store, we are not allowed to take orders of these, by the way, but we can get wish lists, and we do encourage folks to tell us what you're looking for. Head to recordstoreday.com, check out that full list, and I'm sure we'll be talking more with Ken Norton about this and others, hopefully, in the weeks to come. And finally today, I thought we would play ourselves out with a couple of samples from the Tributes Songs for Neil Volume 1 that we talked with Steve about earlier. If you get a chance to get a hold of one of these, highly recommended. Beautiful packaging, gorgeous looking red vinyl on there as well. We will put a link in the description below this video so you can check out the RushFest Scotland website and get a copy of this for yourself. But 8 tracks from Rush tribute bands, and they do a phenomenal job paying tribute to a phenomenal man. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for watching The Record Show. If you haven't done so yet, please make sure to subscribe to the Radio Wasteland Records YouTube channel. And be sure to hit that notifications bell so you'll be alerted every time we upload new content.